This Let's Play of Bryte was sponsored by Roll20. To see more information about Bryte itself, check out the links in the description below. Hello and welcome back to the second and final episode of our playthrough of Bryte, sponsored by Roll20. We join our intrepid heroes who are cool and adventuring in outer space.
Thank you, Wales.
As they have just found an amorphous... Oh god, hello Toto. They've just found an amorphous green blob who is seemingly quite friendly, but is quite important cargo for the strange characters that they've decided to do this job for. And the person who has decided to purchase said green blob from you has just arrived at the airlocks. What will you do?
I've been like knocking on the wall trying to figure out if there's like a bit of sorry, I just saw my nail was broken. A bit of like a hollow wall.
Saw that wall knocking you've been doing.
And I think that would require an engineering roll.
Sure, why not? You know, you're familiar with the ship and how it was engineered. Let's call this a Complexity 3 challenge.
Lowly, are you knocking as like the humanoid shape created by the bugs, or are all like 10,000 bugs just tapping very like, tiny knocks?
Imagine that I've made a hammer and I'm using that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, a little
nice.
hammer, a bug
I like
hammer.
that.
Bug hammer, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Oh, amazing.
It's
Wow.
about time we succeeded at a challenge. Okay, so yeah, after a while of tapping on pretty thick, solid metal, you hear a bit that goes from to. No, this is hollow. Yeah, there you go. Until you find like a sort of area that seems to be like a gap between the actual living quarters of the ship and the hull, which is mainly just to give the ship one more final breach point before you're actually right into space. So knocking through this wall wouldn't kill you, but it's not necessarily a safe thing to do. But I'll leave that decision up to you. But you could definitely, with the power of Matt Jarvis's laser, you could definitely knock through this wall and just shove.
It is a known fact that Matt Jarvis has a laser.
Domestic, please.
I do like a whistle to call him over, like a. Apparently, I can't whistle.
I am a robot, not a dog, but I will attend. How can I help, Bugs Funny?
I think you should use your laser to make a hole in this wall so we can hide. What's his face? Ice Lime in there,
Bugs,
and
Bugs,
then.
I'm gonna say that it's over here in this sort of like section on the right hand side.
Yeah, if you could make a hole, we could hide Ice Lime, and you could weld it shut, and they'll never find him.
Okay, Chaos, how thick is the ship hull?
How thick is wall? The ship wall is about 1 meter thick.
Okay, domestic.
I think just quickly while Domestic is doing this, Jerry's gonna fly Buzz on over to where I believe there's knocking happening against the docking door.
The airlock bell is a ringing.
Is there like a video call thing on the wall?
No, there's just like there's a little screen that says preparing to board.
Oh, okay, so like someone isn't ringing like the doorbell.
No, there's just a little accept button, which will unlock the airlocks for them.
I think Jerry's just gonna just start just talking outside just the door, just telling them a story about.
Are you turning on the little like communications?
Yeah. I think they press the button to turn on the communications thing, and they're like, hey, we're just preparing some stuff back here to make sure you're all comfortable. But I wonder whether you ever heard the story of my great uncle Bumblebutt.
I'm not here for bumblebutt stories. I'm merely here to retrieve the cargo.
Well, I'm so glad you asked. And then they're just going to tell the story about Uncle Bumblebutt, who one day found that they're I don't know, they got stuck in a door or something because their bumblebutt was too big. I don't know.
Their bumblebutt was too big.
Yeah, and so they're just gonna tell
We've all
that
been
story. We've all gone
The
there.
bumblebutt.
Yeah, when you've
The Bumblebot family.
when you've had too many space
Very
pizzas and your bumblebutt, it all goes to the bumblebutt, you know.
It really does.
So
let's-
Jerry's gonna do that.
Let's flip back to domestic whilst you're buying them some time.
Domestic, please. So, I think my laser's going to be too long here, judging by how it went trying to cut through a small thing that didn't lead to the expanse and depth of space. So, I think domestic... Actually, yeah, now that you've mentioned pizza, domestic, as discussed in the last session, has kind of like Swiss Army knife, Inspector Gadget hands.
Yeah.
But largely centered around, being able to help out with the ship utilities and cooking and so on. So Domestic's going to bring out a pizza cutter, but it's a space pizza cutter.
yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah,
so it has like a slight
laser.
laser.
Yeah, of
running around.
course. Yeah.
It almost toasts the pizza as you cut it.
Delicious.
And Domestic's going to start cutting a relatively small hole, probably along if there's some kind of moulding to make it less obvious if anyone looks at it. Kind of cut along that, just a slice that's big enough to put eye slime through. Is the eye like pliable? Could we like squish the eye through, like placing it for a letterbox?
Good try.
Or do we need to make a space that is that going to like pop it?
I think you probably need something that's like the eye is the only like physical object here. Everything else is just goop.
How big is it? Like mango, coconut, like watermelon?
It's a mango size.
It's a mango.
Okay.
It's a mango.
Okay, in that case, Domestic will kind of cut like a small square with this pizza cutter, take the panel away, allow ice slime to enter, and then hopefully replace it. But for now, they just pizza cut the wall.
A pizza
'cause
slice.
I'm sure I'll need to roll for
A
this.
pizza-sized hole.
let's call it a 3 again. What are you using?
Well, last time I used power, right? So
Yeah, that sounds good.
power, complexity 3.
Here we go.
Please. How?
Every time.
Have you
I passed
succeeded yet, apart from your first one?
Just the first roll. And every roll since then, I have
Oh my
failed
goodness.
miserably.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to say that this wasn't necessarily that difficult, but this was about doing it on time, right? Because you're trying to do this quickly before Jerry Bemouvet is forced to open the doors out of sheer embarrassment. So you manage to get the hole cut open, but you can already hear that the airlocks are being disengaged behind you as you're desperately trying to shove this like goop through the hole in the wall. So we cut back where Oppo Midi Nivinkan has just walked through the airlock, and now you get your first look at them, Jerry. So they are very regally dressed in these long crimson robes. And you can see as they walk through that bright white sort of porcelain mask has now been pulled back over their face to cover their mouth. And they are sort of like walking in very, very haughtily.
Can Jerry like fly up to them and just like take their hand and just start shaking it like vigorously? Be like,
Yeah, absolutely,
hey,
yeah.
so good to meet you. Really,
Hey, it's
yeah,
great.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming out.
out. Like that. Yeah, and like deliberately trying to block as much of their eye line as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They're like, yes, well, very nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
Could you quickly for me, please? Ooh, that's the wrong one. Could you quickly for me, please, roll complexity 3 on... What's your best knowledge skill? Knowledge and streetwise are both 4. So... Oh, bless you.
Actually,
Thank you. Sorry, I'm
Whichever
allergic
you
to
prefer,
I'm
really.
allergic to dangerous social situations.
Yeah, either Streetwise or Knowledge. They're both D4s.
Oh, great.
Complexity 3. So give me a roll.
I
See if
think that
See if you notice something about them.
Jerry can be streetwise. He comes
Mm-hmm.
from apparently an urban density, population density. So, did you say 3?
Complexity 3, please. Yeah.
Well, let's see how this goes.
Oh,
That's 2 2s. It's kind of
God.
expected with a D4, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst dice. Yeah, so like there's something about them that you recognise, but you can't really make it out. There's like an emblem on this medallion that's hanging around their
Okay.
neck, and you've seen it before, but you can't remember where. So, where is the package? I see the destructed cargo box, which, might I remind you, is very expensive.
Domestic had a little accident, and then the creature sort of decided to make its own way.
Can I come over?
Out? But we've got it. Don't worry. Did you want anything to drink? We got delicious beverages here. I can get you a snack.
I can't offer beverages. I have come merely for the cargo.
I've got some space pizza.
I'd like to come over in my bug's funny self, and I'd like to be like really like flowy and like it almost looks like I'm wearing like a really flowy dress or something because of the way that like it moves as I come over. Like I'm just very like flowy and elegant, and I'm like, oh, you're here. Come in. It's through here, and I'd like to use my skill suave to try and distract them and like usher them through to the kitchen where the fake ice slime is.
So you're trying to just put them at ease and bring them into the
I'm trying to be like the host, like the.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, look at me! Look at me! You're distracted.
You've got a big D12 in Suave. Let's call this Complexity 4. Because they're already a little bit on edge because this Jerry character's been a bit weird.
hey, nice.
1, 2, 10, and a 6. Well, yeah, I mean, you'd hope on a D12, right? So yeah, you just very casually just sort of like lead them in, and you can see that they drop their shoulders a little bit, and they're like, finally, someone who is going to treat me with some respect around here. As you just sort of like lead them into the kitchen, you maybe offer them like a little space beverage.
Yeah.
Domestic, meanwhile, you're still trying to squeeze this green goop into the side of the wall.
Yeah, so is it going in because it's kind
Yeah,
of sentient, right?
not-
So does it realize the situation it's in?
Yeah, the main problem is it's making a sort of noise.
Can Jerry hear this noise?
Well, let's find out if Oppo can first, because Oppo's a little bit closer.
Yeah, but
So they're just going to roll perception.
I specifically want to know if Jerry can hear this noise, because Jerry, if they can, they want to try and imitate the noise.
Yeah, Oppo can hear it, so I'm guessing you can as well, if you're following behind as well.
Okay, so Oppo can hear the noise.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry's gonna just start going, oh,
Why are you doing that?
and he's gonna shake his. They're gonna shake their booty, and like
Their thorax.
their thorax, yeah, in a sort of like a swishing motion, and just like do some jazz hands.
Oppo, just with a bellowing shout, they just go, enough! And there is like a silence across the ship. Even the goop has stopped making noise, thankfully. And they're just like, I have had it to here with your transgressions against my time. Now I wish only to receive the creature that you have transported. The creature that you were not even supposed to see, need I remind you. You will receive at a reduced rate for the damage and for breaking our instructions, but you will be paid nonetheless. Now show me the creature, and we can be on our way.
I'd like to very suavely be
And
like,
what skill are you using, Lolies?
be like, here it is.
Are you pulling them over to the bucket in the kitchen?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Matt, you failed your roll to create this thing.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder. Yeah.
So let's say that they're rolling an advantage, because it should be pretty difficult to, or that you're rolling at a disadvantage. Sorry, ladies, because it should be pretty difficult to convince them of this goop in a bucket. So roll me suave. We'll call it complexity 4, but you have to make the roll twice.
Oh, okay. Roll number 1.
Nice.
It's a pass.
Roll number 2. Whoop. Whoop.
Oh.
Okay, so that's a partial success, we'll say. Okay, so you've definitely bought some time as they look into the bucket and start poking it. And as they sort of pull their finger back, the slime of the corn syrup is just sort of like following them, and they're like, strange. This doesn't seem quite like it was described. And you definitely got this from the right group. The ones bearing the red sashes.
Yes. That's correct. That's the one. They just, I mean, we obviously don't know what was in it. That's what came out of the big crate. You told us not to open it, so we couldn't check to see anything more than the fact that it was a big crate. From the people you told us.
I think Jerry is gonna gradually glide back to where the kitchen utensils are.
Please don't dance anymore.
And they're gonna grab a rolling pin. And they're gonna slowly fly up behind this person. And look at Bugs Bunny.
What, just like holding it in the air? Like...
Bugs Bunny just like very slowly blinks. Like, I feel like for Bugs Bunny, sorry. Who's Bugs Bunny? Bugs
No
Bunny.
idea. Never heard of them.
For Bugs Bunny, like, time almost just stands still. And like you just see like Bugs Bunny like just slow motion blinking as they're just like watching their bug friend about to do something real stupid.
Does Oppo, do they sound like they're starting to get a bit suspicious of the goop in the bucket?
Do you want to wait and see what they say, or do you want to act?
I think they're gonna listen a bit longer.
Okay. Yeah, so Oppo is sort of staring into the bucket and making these prodding pokes. He just says, "This is very strange, but if this is what they gave you, I must bring in some of my associates to look at this."
I think at that moment, Jerry's gonna swing their arm down.
Okay, as you lift up the rolling pin, for some reason you can see they're pressing the call button on their arm. So this is literally a case of will they holler the call before you smack them over the head? So let's say that this is going to be like a this is definitely some kind of like swift motion.
Yeah.
Maybe stealth. Maybe oh god, is there like a speed? I mean, stealth or melee, I guess.
I'm gonna go
Melee's probably the better.
Melee, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably enough. I mean, the thing is that they're not hiding this from anyone else except for Oppo, and Oppo isn't aware of their presence yet. So
What does that have to do
well,
with
like
it?
it's not like Loli's was playing the character and they were trying to hide the fact that they were hitting this person over the head from them.
I'm just imagining you being like, I want to stealth attack the guard. Oh, no. Like, I'm not stealth attacking anyone else, so it's not stealth.
You said I could use melee.
No, you can use melee. It will just be more difficult.
Okay.
I'll ask for a higher complexity. So I think this would have been a 4. This is now a 5 with
Whoa,
melee.
okay.
This is going to be very difficult to swiftly knock this person out, and
let's
in
give it a
time.
go. No.
Okay.
Oh.
It's a quick question before the next thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that they've pressed, Is
Yeah.
it like a little video watch thing?
Yeah, it's like, imagine like a little hologram comes up and it's got
Okay,
a little camera
good.
on it that just pops out.
Right. In that case, continue, and I will come in when the time comes.
Okay, so Jerry's swinging their arm down.
Yeah, so you are like swinging with let's describe it all in slow motion. You're
Yeah.
swinging straight down onto the back of
Yeah.
their skull. And you see like the little camera start to pop up as they've pressed the hold button. And you can see like a sort of connection icon as they're like just going in.
Yeah.
And just as the like camera preview kicks in, they can see their own face and they see behind you and you see them cock their head like this. And just as they rotate, the rolling pin just swishes just past them and smacks into their forearm, which just knocks their arm down. But then you can see them alerted just start to grab for something from their hip.
Okay.
I would like to, as my bug said, I'd like to swarm, because I can take up the same space as another person or creature.
Yeah.
I'd like to literally just be like all over them so that they can't like even see like in front of their like they wouldn't be able to see their hand in front of their face. That's like
Okay.
I'm just like buzzing around them like crazy.
All right, let's go. What skill do you want to use for that?
Oh, that's a swarm. That's some kind of skill roll. It's a
Yes,
special
but-
ability. Yeah.
But what would you like to roll to try and obfuscate them rather than just being in their space kind of thing? Maybe melee or presence.
I'd rather go melee or suave because I'm doing it really suavely.
I'll be honest, I'm gonna veto the suave lilies.
Melee,
But I'll
then.
give you melee. Let's just, it should be pretty simple. So let's just call it complexity 2 because you're literally just swarming in front of them. So just don't roll doubles. Okay. All right.
Hey.
So for a second, you hear Oppo just like, what's the meaning of this? And they seem to have grabbed something. And then, Jerry, you can just see like lasers firing out of the swarm. Bugs, I think if you were to spend another like long moment here, you're going to take some damage. Basically, you've got like a small window where the other two can act. Doom, what are you up to?
Have I managed to finish posting the ice slime into the wall?
It's like mostly through, but you can see it's starting to quiver. It's almost like it recognizes the voice.
Oh, okay.
Quickly, into the wall.
Domestic will gesture into the wall, but also can I, with my array of, I was going to say household, but it's like space hold utilities. If I've got a little like hand vacuum cleaner, like the kind that you use to like hoover out of a keyboard, that kind of thing, can I suck up some of the slime, or put it in reverse and kind of leaf blow it into the hole a little bit faster? It will make a tiny bit of noise. But I basically just want to speed up the slime going in the hole.
Okay. Let's call this complexity. I mean, what are you using first? You're kind of reverse engineering your own appliance, aren't you?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess, yeah, like engineering makes sense. Unless you like count a vacuum cleaner as a ranged item.
I mean, I guess.
Well, it's like wielding a gun, isn't it? Like it requires accuracy, I suppose, is what I'm getting at. To leaf
Yeah,
blow it
or power,
whatever.
to be honest, like you were using your laser.
Sure, it's got more range though, Wills.
I'm not giving you ranged weapon for your vacuum cleaner.
Okay, I can do power if you like.
Yeah, let's say power 3.
Okay. Complexity 3. Roll. Is it going to fail? It failed.
Oh my god, Matt! That was a D10 as well. That's the second best die you can get.
Somebody
You've had
please
horrible.
add up for the proportions of me failing all of these rolls so far.
Oh.
Okay, so you're just like, all right, the time is running out here. Like the gun is being fired. You
Yeah.
back yourself up and sort of like steady your metallic feet into the floor and grab your vacuum cleaner into your buzz arm position.
Yeah. You know-
But you then forget that you're supposed to switch it the other way around, and you start sucking the slime back out of the wall at such a speed that it actually knocks you onto the ground. And you're now sort of like covered in this goop as it just sort of like flattens itself across the floor.
Nice. I'd like to specify as well that, you know, like in robot mecha cartoons, when their hand like folds back and turns into a massive
Yeah.
like energy cannon.
It's
It's
got
like
a
that,
Dyson
but-
in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's got like the little brush at the end as well for those real dusty bits of the spaceship. Space dust.
It's for pet hairs as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, all the bug hairs.
Yeah, we got little tiny hairs.
Yeah.
All right, Jerry, you've got one more action before Oppo starts actually damaging your friend here.
Does Jerry think that Oppo managed to contact their compatriot?
Yeah, in fact, you can hear the call sign saying, you know, like, Commander, are you okay, Commander? And then you can hear them sort of shouting in the background, like, ready the reinforcements!
Okay. Jerry's gonna fly on over to the docking door and initiate a sequence of sealing it off if they can.
Okay. Yeah, that should be pretty simple. I won't make you roll for that. So you're just gonna lock the doors.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So from this point, we are gonna enter combat.
Okay.
Bugs, you need to decide whether or not you would like to hold this character in exchange for a damage, or if you'd like to step off and go back into standard combat.
Well, what I wanted to do, so you can tell me what that counts.
Okay.
What this counts as. What I wanted to do is, I'm obviously swarming around, and then he's firing something. I want to then use that swarm to try and disarm him, and then whilst I go back into my shape, I want to like swarm disarm shape.
Okay, let's say that if you succeed in this, you'll stop the damage, but otherwise you will take that damage from being on them. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to pop you underneath them. So you have sandwiched underneath underneath Oppo. So you are currently like swarming around. So the way that combat works in this game, and we're doing a sort of simplified version because we don't have much time to show it to you. But characters are going to declare their actions at the start. Non-player characters, that is, before you do your actions, and then whatever they declared, they will do after you have all taken a turn to do something. So you're going to spend your turn trying to prevent like harm and to stop them from doing stuff by using your actions. The interesting thing about actions in combat is that you can do multiple of them, but they raise in complexity with every action that you perform. So the first action is only complexity 2. Then the second one is 3, then 4, then 5, and so on. So the more likely you are to fail, the further you are in the turn. If you fail an action, then something bad happens. So the character Oppo is going to blast the swarm around them. Very, very simple. So they're just doing a blind fire around them. And we'll swap over to you, gang. So I believe you can do this in any turn order that you like.
Okay, so I'd like to try and disarm them.
Okay, so let's say that you're doing a complexity 2 action then, because it's your first move. So what skill would you like to try and disarm them with?
I think
I'm looking for something like melee and physical and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it must be melee. I don't really know what skullduggery is. What does skullduggery mean?
I think skullduggery is like it's like non-stealth rogue actions. You know what I mean? Like it's sort of stealing and.
Oh, so
and
that
like...
I'm kind of stealing. So maybe I do. Well, melee is higher. I'll roll melee.
Oh no, actually, no, I'm not stealing. Hold on, I didn't say that.
What? No, I'm not. I'm gonna give it back eventually.
All right, cool. Let's call this melee 2 then.
Okay. Melee 2.
Hey.
Okay, that's a 403. So you manage to just sort of swarm your bugs into the the sort of like wrist area of this creature, and just sort of compress, and it forces their hand open as they go ow, as they're feeling the constriction, and the gun just sort of slides across the kitchen floor. So you've now got a chance to do a second action if you so wish.
Well, I would like to then go and take the weapon.
Okay, so you want to rush over to get the gun before then, basically.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
this is going to be complexity 3. So what skill would you like to use to try and do that?
I'm going to assume that would be athletics if I'm going to be racing against them.
That sounds pretty good, and that's a 10. So that's Jerry. Sorry, never mind.
That's a 6. Yeah.
Okay, that's a 6, but it's not terrible.
I just think that seems like the most obvious, like the one that makes the most sense. I'm gonna try not to be like, well, what if I do it suavely?
You say that, but you've said that like 3 times already in this Let's Play.
Yeah, but it made sense then.
All right, 3 dice, but only d6s, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, unlucky.
Okay, so when you fail, you either get a thing called a collapse point, which is basically like a token that the GM can use to make things go bad, or you take a consequence. In this case, you're going to take a consequence. So, Lolies, as you were trying to sort of like disform yourself from around Oppo, they grabbed what you didn't realize was a second firearm from their back, which is a slightly smaller weapon, but it's still a weapon all the same. And they start firing at you, which forces you to hunker down into cover under a table to avoid taking damage. So that's going to end your turn, and we're going to move over to one of the other 2 characters. So who would like to go for second? Sorry.
Okay. I think Jerry's going to move around this cargo area.
Okay, so your speed, Jerry, is...
Were you not? Did you not already come over into the kitchen?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you hit him across the head?
I ran to close
ran
the doors.
back to the airlocks before the combat started. Yeah, your movement speed is 7.
Yeah.
So you're moving. So you'll see that you've got like 4 tiles is 1 space on this little map that we're using.
Okay. So I don't want to go like straight at them, because I want to kind of come round like this way.
Okay, so you're...
like up here.
Are you counting the amount of spaces that you're moving?
No, I'm demonstrating to you where I'm going.
You need to stay where you are so I know how many spaces you're doing. Okay. Yeah, you'll probably just get to about this area here. So you'll probably be able to take cover behind this corner.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay. So that is your free movement. What would you like to do as your actions?
Yeah. Can Jerry just try to hide behind this wall and hope that Oppo can't see them?
So you stealthing?
Yeah, they just want to see if they can hide as an action behind this wall.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so just complexity 2, probably stealth.
Right. There you go.
4 and a 2. Okay. Right, would you like to do a second action, or are you stopping there?
So, where is Oppo looking at the moment?
Oppo is currently firing at Bugs Bunny. So they're so they're looking. If you count up as north, they're looking sort of northeast right now.
Okay. Oppo.
So directly away from you.
Okay, Oppo is gonna again, try to go up behind and hit Oppo on the head
with a rolling pin.
With a rolling pin. They're gonna use their extended reach as well, which means they can make melee attacks within against creatures within 2 squares of you.
Okay. So you're going to have to do some extra movement here.
Yeah.
Okay, so to move an extra amount, you're going to have to take an action. So this is going to be a complexity 3 action just to get there, and then you'll have to do complexity 4 to hit them.
Yeah, you know what?
Because you're moving outside of your standard reach.
Jerry's just going to hide behind the wall for now, and then wait.
Okay.
Wait until it gets round to their go again.
Okay. All right, so we move on to Domestic, who is currently underneath a big pile of goop.
So there's like a a hole in a doorway, you might say. Can Oppo see Domestic and the gloop through
I
that
think as soon as Oppo has finished firing, they're going to scan the surroundings and see the goop starting to pile out of this room.
hole? Okay. So Domestic's on the floor, right? Because they got knocked down by the goop.
Mm-hmm.
So I have... let me just find the specific wording of this. Basically, I have rockets, like rocket boosters. Flight boosters. And I'm assuming, well, I'm saying that they're on the bottom of my feet because that's how you fly if you're a robot. So while I'm down on the floor, what I want to do is basically, if I've been knocked backwards off the wall, my feet are pointing towards the wall.
Yeah, and you're on your back. Yeah.
Yeah, and looking at the map, I'm almost in line with Oppo. So I kind of want to activate the flight boosters in my feet to slide on my back and basically wipe Oppo out before they can fire at Bugs Funny.
Okay. What skill would you like to use for this?
So
Here we go.
it's I don't think it's athletics. Maybe it is athletics.
Maybe it's power.
Yeah, so I
Just
think
activating the power of your feet.
Yeah, because I'm at an angle. I think it would either be like computers so that I can program the angle right in my boosters, or it would be power to just get the feet right. So whatever.
I'd say you're just unleashing power to try and make yourself into a little missile, aren't you? So I think
Okay, yeah,
power's
that
probably
works
the
for me.
best one for it. So it's your first action, so it's going to be complexity 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's an 8 and a 1,
Hey.
which means that Matt has finally succeeded at an action. So what's your movement range? 7 movement speed.
7. Yeah,
Okay.
so I would guess that applies to my feet also. my
Yeah, so
boosters.
I would like you to move yourself 7 spaces in one direction and take Oppo with you, basically.
Oh, I've also got enhanced boosters, so my movement speed increases by 2.
Okay, so
So-
9 spaces in one direction, please.
Yeah. Wait. So hopefully,
As long as your path crosses with Oppo.
yeah, like that.
Okay, cool. So you're going to sort of charge them into the wall.
Yeah, so I'm gonna, I think, end up about here, and they will go. So if I'm hitting them, yeah, okay, yeah, like
Yeah.
into that room, I guess.
Yeah, I think they actually smack into the door. Maybe it's closed. And actually, I think it hits with so much force that you break the door down, which does knock them onto the ground, obviously. And I'm going to say that they're going to take a point of damage as well.
Nice.
So, oops, I need to press enter. There we go. So, yeah, as they sort of like blast backwards onto the ground, you feel like the well, you've got kind of horns in your picture, so I think you feel your horns sort of like skewer into the door,
Whoa.
just like around the sides of the like torso of Oppo, and you just blast backwards. So you're currently now like your head is kind of like stuck back, and you're kind of pinning Oppo onto the ground, who is like, you stupid robot. Oppo is now going to take their action, but because they've been floored and they can't now fire at Bugs Funny anymore, they have cancelled their action, so you've avoided that damage. And we're going to start a new round. So Oppo's action for this round is going to be to attack Domestic, to retaliate. But I will say that before anything happens, and Jerry, you hear it the first, you hear the locks starting to be attacked in some way by some kind of either blaster or blowtorch, as you can hear like metal sort of like sparking in the background and some kind of kerfuffle at the back of the ship.
Okay.
So it sounds like someone trying to break in.
Yeah, yeah. Are we back in the turn order again?
So I believe the turn order is fluid.
Okay.
So I believe you can do it in any order you like.
Jerry's gonna address Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna go, hey, Chaos, baby. We got some intruders.
Hello, baby.
Hello, baby. Hello, my darling. We got some intruders coming in. Do you think we can detach from the other ship, maybe?
I would love to, baby, but they have activated stealth systems and gripped onto the hull of the ship, baby.
How exactly would we be able to stop that?
You would need to activate the manual weapon systems, baby.
Can I do that?
If you can make it to the manual weapons systems, baby.
Okay. Thanks, babe. Where is it?
I will remind you that the manual weapons systems are at the front of the ship, baby.
Cheers, doll. Yeah, Jerry wants to fly over or walk over, whatever you want, to the place described. The manual's weapon thing in the front of the ship.
Okay, yeah. So if you scroll up to the top of the ship, you'll see that there's these two purple squares, and you'll notice these sort of like coloured shapes around the ship. These are actual modules that you can sort of upgrade. In these two sort of front squares on the two sort of like circular turret shaped areas of the ship, this is where you've got some weapons equipped. And if we open up the spaceship rules, you can see that you are going to have already equipped a 1 second. They're around here somewhere. There we go. You've got 2 fixed turrets, 2 pivot turrets, 1 fixed turret and 1 pivot turret, or 1 rotating turret. So you would have had a choice between this. We're going to say that you've got 2 pivot turrets. So pivot turrets allow you to rotate your view whilst you're shooting. So imagine that you've got 2 sort of like dome-shaped weapons on top of these 2 parts of the ship. It's like a little thing that you can crawl into with a crawl space and start firing, almost like you're in like an old World War II attack plane or whatever.
Okay, yeah, Jerry's gonna move as far as they can at a speed of 7 over there.
Moving around at the speed of 7.
So they'll move 7 spaces toward there. So how do I check how far I'm moving?
What you just did it on the previous turn. Yeah, the
There's
thing
a
that you
ruler.
There's a
yeah, the
ruler.
ruler that you used.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, how?
There you go. So you can move just past the kitchen. Sorry, hold on. Let me just scroll up a little bit. Using Roll20's patented ruler systems.
Right. So that. Okay.
Sponsored by Roll20.
Okay. Yeah. Jerry's gonna move over there.
Yeah. So that's your free movement.
Right. Can they
So to move any further, you'll have to start taking some actions.
Okay. Yeah. Jerry wants to move their action to move further.
Okay. So once again, you can move 7. So that would get you to sort of like this area here.
Okay.
So what skill would you like to use to try and rush over there?
Athletics, please.
Athletics sounds good. So that's going to be complexity 2 because it's your first action of the turn. It's 5 and a 6, so you're all good. So you managed to move yourself up to this sort of like stairs area here. You'll need 1 more action to actually get into the turret without screwing up, basically.
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Okay, so this is going to be complexity 3. I'm guessing you're going to use athletics again?
Yeah, just a run. Oh, I don't know why it rolled twice.
Ooh, that's a 4, an 8, and a 2. Okay, so you are currently sort of like clambering up into this turret. So we'll pop you over there. And as you just sort of like pull your head up into the kind of like 360 vision of the screen, you look around and you can see that you're actually surrounded by about 2 or 3 small sort of fighter ships who you can only assume are not firing on you because you have their leader inside with you. But you can see that one of them has attached itself to the back of your ship, and you can see sort of like what appears to be like flashes of light coming from like the windows in the ship. So you can see like the sparks of whatever tool they're using to get through the wall. So whoever is trying to break through, they're coming from that ship there.
Okay. Is that all I get to do?
You can keep going. It just means that your complexity will keep rising.
Well.
So the next one would be 4 dice.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop there because I would have to use an ability I'm not very good at.
Okay, either Doom or Bugs. What would you like to do?
I feel like Doom, you're in the middle of something already, so I'll let you go first.
I won't interrupt. I'll let you two sort it out. So I'm pinning Oppo to the wall, right, with my head.
To the floor, technically.
To the
'cause
floor,
Yeah,
sorry.
you've fallen down. You're still on your back. And you've taken the goop with you, remember?
Oh.
Yeah. But so the kind of horns on the top of my head, have they actually gone into the floor? Like they're properly pinned?
Yeah, no, you're literally like skewering the door that's on the floor right now.
Okay. Well, looking at the description of the Peacecraft, I can't see a description of where, because they're robots.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that detaching my head is going to be an issue.
Is there a thing in the book that says you can detach your head? Or is this you inferring?
This is me inferring. I can't see any mention that... It basically just says they're humanoid. It doesn't specify where the cockpit is. But the cockpit is empty because I'm an organic robot with its own AI. So I think I
Okay.
could detach the head without any issue, keeping them pinned to the floor, and then my headless body stands up.
Okay, let's call it an action.
Okay.
So this is going to be complexity 2 to detach your body and stand up.
Okay, what do you want me to roll?
What do you want to roll?
I think this is probably just computers, right? It's to do with me.
It's your own internal systems, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Give me complexity 2 computers roll then.
Yes.
That's an 8 and a 3. Okay, so there is like a sort of pressure release as your neck just unhinges itself and just goes ka-ching, and you just sort of right your body up, and there's just sort of like a headless torso now. Obviously, you can't see.
Yeah, but my head would have been looking upright from because I blasted backwards.
Yeah, so
I
you're
have
kind
an
of like
idea.
peering down like this. You can just see like the crest of the robot hull's like shoulders.
Okay, and is Oppo still wriggling around and trying to do stuff?
Yeah, a lot easier now that you've got... I'm going to say that as you stood up, like the slime just sort of like pulled onto the floor.
Okay.
So they're kind of a lot more free to move around.
Well, I want to, with my robot arm, because I'm quite big, so I just want to then take my hand and basically just put it round them and almost like hold them so they can't move their arms. So just kind of grip them around the shoulders to stop them from firing at anyone with a pistol.
So you want to pin them. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so complexity 3, what skill are you using for this?
It's a fine question. Let's say maybe athletics?
Yeah, just
Because
physical
it's
strength.
just physical, just physical restraint.
Okay. So that's 3 dice.
complexity 3. Oh, look at this. Everything's
Yes.
coming up.
Oh,
Domestic.
3, 5, and an 8. Okay. Right, so you sort of like just literally just like grabbing your hand into like a sort of pincer motion. And luckily you can see where you're going now because your body is walking back towards you. You just sort of grab below your head because you know that's where the torso of Oppo should be. And you hear them go sort of, ah! And they're sort of like thrashing now and sort of like smacking against your metal hull, but it's not really doing much. Would you like to do anything else? Or are you passing over to Bugs Bunny?
I think I'll stop. I think for domestic, that's all they're trying to do. They feel like the threat's been resolved now.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like,
Please stop thrashing around. We can resolve this without needing to resort to violence.
Resolve you
And,
in a minute!
I think also the fact that domestic, as we saw with the chicken, isn't great. They may be just squeezing a tiny bit.
Yeah, they're not
harder than
meaning
they
to be
realise.
mean, but they are. They're being a little bit aggressive.
There's
as they
maybe just like
grab.
the crack of a rib.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, Bugs. What are you doing?
That's me. Quick question. The people trying to break in, did you say they're trying to break in the back where Odo came in, or is his name Odo, or are they coming in at the front where Jerry is?
They're coming at the back where Oppo came in from.
Oppo, sorry. Okay. Right. Okay. In that case, can I make it to the back?
What's your movement speed?
5.
5. Okay, well, so you've got 1 free movement of 5.
Yeah.
And then you're going to need to do... So you can get up to there.
Okay.
You're going to need to do probably 3 moves to get to the back. So you'd have to do 2 actions in a row with a success just to get to where you want to get.
Okay. Well, is Oppo still holding a weapon in their hand? Can I see that?
Yes. They're not firing at the moment. They're trying to smash into Domestic.
Okay. Well, I think I might just use my turn to just disarm them then instead, because at least I'm kind of moving in that direction. So I'll move over there towards them. How did you do that with the arrows?
Oh, so if you click on the ruler, which is like a circle with a ruler on it on the top left, then you can just drag a line. It shows you how far you can move.
Yeah, so I can get over to them.
Yeah, you within 1 space. That's a melee attack.
Well, that's 4. I can go 5. Right.
That sound good?
Yes, and then is it athletics if I want to disarm them?
Do you want to use athletics? Or would you like to use melee? Or power?
Yeah, I definitely don't want to use power. I think let's go with melee then.
All right. So this is your first action, so 2 dice.
Nice.
Oh,
It's 1 and a 7. So you, as they're pinned down, you just sort of like grab one arm with your left hand, grab the gun with the right hand, and just pull them apart.
Mm-hmm.
And they're sort of thrashing at you and trying to attack, but you've got the upper hand because they're still pinned down by Domestic's head.
Okay. And then I'd like to move towards the back of the door then with my next action. So
Okay, so that's going to be 3 dice. So what skill would you like to use?
I'm guessing that I'll have to be athletics.
It doesn't have to be.
Unless I dance over. What if I dance over?
As long as you can convince me, then you can use whatever stat you want.
I could stealth over. I could
So you want to start sneaking around now?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Why not? So give me 3 dice of stealth.
Okay. Yeah.
5, 6, and a 2. Okay, right. So you managed to get. I'm just going to draw the line for you so you can move your token. So you managed to get about here.
Okay. Okay. And then I'll go again with the same one.
Okay. So this is going to be 4 dice now. And this will get you to. Well, this will get you right back to the back of the airlocks.
Okay, good. But I'll be stealthy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
3, a 10, a 7, and a 6. So
Nice.
you managed it.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So you are right at the back now, right next to the airlocks. And you can see, now that you're here, there is like a white hot, just like you saw Domestic do to the wall in the cargo bay, there is like a white hot line that's being drawn around the airlock door as someone is trying to breach in.
So they've obviously already done some of it, right? So would that bit be there's a little gap now where they've already cut some of it?
Yeah, there's like a white hot molten metal line, so it'd be dangerous to go through, but it would definitely be possible.
I'll try it. I would like
Bear
to
in mind you're now on 5 dice.
Well, I'm gonna use stealth because I'm sending one bug to to try and get
Just to
through
sneak
without
through,
being noticed.
without them noticing. Yeah, no, that's a perfect stealth, but that is 5 dice.
That's fine.
Oh, lowly.
YOLO.
Okay. Oh, that's 3 8s.
And 2 1s. That's like
And 2 1s.
so many doubles.
That's all duplicates. Okay, all right. So, we're going to call this a consequence.
It's funny
kind
because
of-
I decided to go ahead with that action because I was like, well, there's not going to be any consequences. I forgot that there would, in fact, be a consequence.
There is quite literally a consequence. So there is definitely a feeling that you're crushing it right now. You've already disarmed them once, then you did it a second time. You're getting a little bit overconfident, And as
I'm
you're just
so
sort of
suave.
you're suavely sneaking around like you're James Bond. On your way, you put like your your back up against the wall like
Are they
this, and do,
like,
like a little head swivel.
Wills, are they like Kronk from...
Yeah, exactly like Kronk, sort of sneaking around in Emperor's New Groove,
But made of bugs.
Yeah.
but made of bugs.
Yeah.
And as you see the white hot line, you're like, easy. One bug can fit through that. But in your sort of overestimations and overconfidence, you didn't stop to think like which one bug, and you end up sending pretty much all of them through the gap. And it gets quite tight quite quickly, and you start burning at your sides as you have to forcefully sort of like pull yourself back out and sort of pat yourself down as bugs are like burning all around you. You can hear tiny little screeches from your arms as they're like, ah! I'm going to give you a point of damage.
Okay.
And you are going to end your turn there. Which means that the people who haven't acted yet are going to act. So Oppo was not going to shoot; they were just going to smash. So they managed to sort of like get a grip on your head, Matt, and they start just sort of like booting it with the back of their heel, sort of like
Please stop. That's my face.
sort of denting the back of your head in a bit, but giving them enough room to wriggle free so that they can run into the next room. So they managed to sort of like squeeze themselves out back into the sort of kitchen lounge area, and that is where they finally get a proper glance at the creature that is just sort of quivering on the floor, looking up at it, very scared. And you can hear it go.
No, they're not taking our child.
And Oppo just shouts, "There you are, finally!" And they lift up their mask, and you see like a big gnarly scar down their eye, and they're very sinister and evil looking. And she raises up the visor to get communication with the team, and shouts like, "What are you doing? It's time to leave!" And you hear Doom. I assume you're putting your head back on in the meantime.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you're just sort of like grabbing your head and trying to reposition
Just
yourself.
spin it 360.
Yeah,
to just,
exactly.
like,
You're screwing
like a
it back
light bulb.
on.
Yeah, like a bayonet.
And just as your eyes sort of like recharge back up, you see one of them do a nod. And then as you're sort of like pressed up against the wall by the airlocks, Bugs Bunny, as you sort of back away from the white hot heat of the wall, you see like a flash of light just burst through this crack in the wall as all of you feel like you've been hit by a flashbang. And there's like a ringing sound. And as your eyes are adjusting, Bugs, you just see like people in the similar red robes that Oppo is wearing just sort of like charging forward with rifles in their hands towards the kitchen area. And you just sort of like, you grab yourself and pick yourself back up and try and follow them back round to help out. But you can see that they are all sort of like surrounding the green blob and are trying to sort of wrangle it with their guns to sort of like push it down towards the airlocks. But you notice the quivering that the goop made the first time it tried to break out of the crate that it was stuck in. And you notice that its eyeball, although it doesn't have eyebrows or eyelids, the goop just starts to like form into a V as it starts to go, and it starts to make like angry grumblings. It's pushing it over the edge, and as it starts to ripple, all of these like limbs that you saw before, these kind of like tentacle-like appendages, come out of the green and start wrapping themselves around the soldiers and start gripping. And you see them all go like, "Ugh!" as this like lungs are just sort of like purged of air inside of them.
Whoa.
You hear like a couple of cracks as they're like, "Ow, ow!" And you hear like the loudest noise that you've heard from the blob as it does like a proper like as it's like Super Saiyaning strength into them. Oppo is like backing up, panicked, and is like firing at the blob. But as it shoots, the laser blasts from the gun that they've picked up drop from one of the the rifles that was dropped by one of the soldiers. the laser blaster just bouncing off the surface of the green blob. The high pressure sort of like surface tension area of the skin just bouncing all projectiles directly off of it again. And it starts to like mount up into a bigger and bigger creature as it forms like a big mouth, like angrily shouting at Oppo. And Oppo starts like backing up, chucks the gun on the floor, and bolts back to the breaching ship. And as you hear him sort of like running back, you chase after him, chasing him down the corridors. Bugs Bunny, you try and trip him up, or trip her up, sorry, but they just start to sort of like scramble and get back on their feet, and they charge through the airlocks into the ship, and you see the doors of the breaching ship just shut close, and it starts to pull itself away from the breaching area. But as it does so, it lets loose the vacuum of space in the ship, because the ship is pulling away as Oppo runs, and you feel this force pulling you out of the ship. You all have one chance to make an action.
Whoa!
You've all followed the intruders down. Jerry, you're quite far away. Did you want to follow, or did you want to stay on the turret?
Yeah, I think Jerry wants to stay on the turret, because Jerry wants to try and shoot at the ship as it flies off.
Okay, sick. All right. Well, let's start with you then. So the ship pulls back.
Okay.
Are you starting to fire at Oppo before they can get away?
Yeah.
I think I've used about 4 different pronouns for Oppo. I think they're supposed to be she. My bad.
Yeah.
So let's call this a complexity 4 action, because like they're moving fast and they're quite close to you. So what skill would you like to use?
I mean, the logical is range, isn't it?
Yeah, but they could also be computers.
Yeah, I mean, like, I could go for maybe there's a computer targeting system.
You're maybe like using the automation of the gun to its.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, sure. Let's go with that.
Yeah, Jerry's like, "Hey, baby."
Yes, baby. Targeting weapon systems.
Let's shoot this one down.
You've got it, baby.
Okay, so complexity 4. I don't have much hopes for this. Whoa!
You sink a couple of laser charges into the wing of Oppo's ship, and you see them just start to like rear over to the side as they just sort of like sputter, like flying away, and you almost like catch them like shaking their fist in the air as they fly away, like "I'll get you!" as they spin off into the sky, leaving their crew behind. And you see the other fighters, after seeing that let loose of charge from your weapons, they turn heel and just fly off. So you've managed to avoid a space fight, but now there's still the problem of the giant breach in your hull.
Okay.
So we'll move over to either to Bugs Bunny or to Domestic. You've both got one action each.
How big is this breach? Is it just the
it's
doors?
the size of the airlocks, yeah. So it's like 4 of those floor tiles wide.
So I've got some like Nova abilities that require Nova points, and I don't think we really covered them, but I think I should have
haven't used them yet, but
you
should have some Nova points, because you basically get 1 per dice size that you use. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. But yeah, so you should have some Nova points to spend if you want to use one of your special abilities.
Yeah, I just want to use one of them, so we don't need to like count how many I gathered. But I've got a power that's called Divide, and I kind of mentioned it at the beginning of the first video, where I can spend a Nova point to split into 2 equal halves, and we share like mental connections. We see everything the same. I'm essentially just like two humanoid figures rather than one.
Okay.
So I would like to do that. Is there like some kind of button or something that closes the airlock? Is that because obviously we'd know about that, right?
So the airlock is technically closed. Unfortunately, they breach through the door with their lasers. So they kind of like attached themselves to the ship and started doing damage. So you splitting into 2 separate Bugs Bunnies.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm guessing I can copy and paste it. Yeah, there we go. All right. So this is the power of Roll20. So you've both got 1 health each.
No, apparently my
split into
health.
2.
Oh yeah, no, that's correct. Right. Okay. So, well, the reason I was going to do it doesn't really work because I was just going to try and press the button, but try and do it twice, but there's no button to press.
Well, I'll give you one action per character. So you had time to do one action. Now you've got two people, so you've got one action each.
Doom, do you have a plan? Maybe I can just assist you with my two people, if you have one.
Yeah. So I think Doom Domestic will... So there's the wall, right? The wall that I previously laser cut through.
Yes.
And that's about 4 tiles wide.
It is about 4 tiles wide, yeah.
So if Domestic can kind of gesture to both halves of Bugs Funny. I almost keep calling you Fugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny.
And basically slice through that whole wall, because that's an internal wall, so it's not a load bearing wall, it's going to be fine. And gesture for Bugs to help out and like hold it, and Domestic can like weld it onto the hole at the back of the ship if Bugs Funny is willing to help out that.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking maybe we could do it that Bugs Funny moves to the back and you like cut it and like throw it over and I hold it and you come over and you go like...
Perfect, yeah, because it's being like sucked to the back anyway, right? So as soon as I cut it, maybe it goes and you catch it
hold it.
Yeah, before it goes out the airlock.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. All right, so we'll do this in 2 parts.
This is a suave action for me, for sure.
This is pretty suave, if I do say so myself. So, Doom, we'll start with you cutting the wall open. What skill are you using for this?
Well, I've been using power so far to cut through things, so power
Sounds
seems like
good.
a good one.
And I believe I gave it a 3 last time, so let's do it a 3 again.
All right, please work. Oh, thank goodness.
Oh!
Okay, so Doom, like, grabbing onto the walls to stop yourself being pulled into the vacuum of space. You sort of, like, pull over here and give yourself, like, a thing to hold on to as you sort of, like, plant your feet on either side of the welding points that you left earlier. You re-cut them open using the same laser, and the chunk of wall just starts to pull through. And it starts flipping as it flies towards both copies of Bugs Bunny on the other side. So, Bugs, I'll give you basically 2 attempts to try and catch this thing.
Oh, okay.
It's heavy, so it's going to be hard. But what skill would you like to use?
Suave. No.
Then, if I can't use suave and I can't use stealth, can I use... I'm assuming I can't use melee.
Grappling is melee.
What? Could I use before? No, that's social. Grappling is melee. So are you saying I could use melee?
Sure, why not use melee? Go on.
Okay.
So we'll say that this is complexity 4, but you've got 2 attempts.
Hey,
Oh, first time!
nailed it.
Okay, so both copies of Bugs Funny grab themselves against the wall and outreach like a bug-covered arm. And as the thing just flips, you just wait for the perfect rotation, and you both stop it in that rotation so that it flattens against the breach in the airlock. And you can see it's like holding, but it's starting to bend as like the sheer force of the pull of the vacuum of space is pulling it out. But it is making it more bearable for you all to stay in this thing. You have like a few moments where you're all just sort of shouting to each other and you're thinking like, oh God, are we going to get sucked into space? What's going to happen? And then in the background, you just see movement on the floor. And there's like, imagine like you can hear like a dum 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 as the glob is just sort of like plummeting across the floor at great speeds. And as it reaches like rounding the corner past the engine rooms, it starts to parachute itself into a big flat object and just starts splatting across the airlock breach and filling all of the gaps with its high surface tension area. And you feel like there's been like a big red alarm that's been blaring out. It starts to die down, and you can hear Chaos saying, "Systems reaching normal percentages." and you all like catch a breath if most of you can breathe. I don't know. As there is a moment of just serenity where you just hear him go on the wall, giving you a big smile.
Our little
Bugs
blob.
Bunny, you are the closest if you want to give him a pat on the head.
Yeah, I think we want to hug him. Both halves of me want to hug him. Like,
I was gonna say, does it have a head? Because it's just like, isn't
Well,
it
there's
just
the eye, right?
It's like
just
sealant at this point.
the general area above the eye.
we're just hugging the slime.
Just stroking the eye for good luck.
poking it in the eye. No.
No.
Oh, God.
No, we're not doing that.
So you use that brief window of stability to try and repair your ship and try and get out of dodge. And as you are sort of like, you know, a couple of hours later, starting to pull back into normal systems, you're hailed on a holographic device on your mainframe PC, and there is the face of Oppo swearing revenge, saying, "I will get back that globby little bastard, and there's nothing you can do about it, Chaos Crew!" And the credits roll over the screen.
And is the music like Chaos Crew? They fly through the
Chaos
universe.
Crew, they always know what to do.
Yes.
As we start our brand new Saturday morning cartoon, Chaos Crew. Thank you very much, everybody, for playing Burn Bright.
Don't you
Yay,
mean
Thank you, Wills.
Bug Sprite?
Yeah, thanks for
No.
running. Thanks for GMing, Wills.
Yeah, that was good
Oh, you're
fun.
very welcome. Yeah, good fun with that. It's an interesting system. The doubles thing I've never seen before. But if you want to learn more about Burn Bright, there are links in the description. We were very nicely sponsored by Roll20 to give this a try, and we have been using Roll20 right now. So all of this stuff that you see before you, you can get as a sort of beginner intro to the game module. There's all sorts of maps. So, for example, if we go over to this one here, you've got a whole dungeon crawl here on a ship called the Inferna, where you can go around all sorts of rooms with all sorts of creatures and things like that. If I zoom out, whoa, you can see it's absolutely massive. Now, you guys can't see this on your screens because I haven't got any tokens in there, but loads and loads of content in there. A whole sort of like story module, as you'd expect from these sort of like big book RPGs, complete with characters and tokens and all kinds of things. So if you want to give that a go, then follow the link in the description for roll20.net. It is their official system. Give it a go. Thank you very much, Roll20, for sponsoring us, and thank you very much you for watching this video, both parts of it. Or just the second part if you felt like skipping the intro. If you've enjoyed this, please do stick around here on youtube.com/Dicebreaker, where we have all sorts of fantastic videos just like this. Me and Lolies will be doing all...
and also me as well. We do videos.
Yeah, all three of us, all three me's. And Lodies is here too. We do all sorts of videos of Let's Plays and reviews and why you should plays and all those sort of things, including some guest appearances from the lovely Alex Bean and Matt Jarvis as well, who you can find over on Dicebreaker.com, writing some fantastic articles of all of our contributors, including reviews and lists and guides and all sorts of things to help you in the tabletop world. And if you want to see more from us and support the channel, you can head on over to dicebreaker.myshopify.com to buy some exclusive merch. All proceeds of which will help us make more content like this. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you on the next video, and until then, have a lovely day. Chaos Crew! Chaos Crew!